Hello guys, Mike here, and it is Saturday. I promised to do a video for you guys this week talking about the new podcast setup that I've started doing. So this video is basically going to be about this bad boy, which is the Zoom H6 handy recorder. I do hope that it's in focus. I'm also mucking about with a friend's camera today. Looks like it's out of focus, which should be out of focus. And as we come back, it should come into focus. I'm going to be jumping out of this view and showing you like a hands-on view of the device. But I just wanted to do that. And for you guys wondering what I'm using for the microphone, I'm actually testing out this Audio-Technica Pro 70. It's not wireless. It looks like it would be wireless. It's not. It needs an XLR cable, which is going into the Zoom, but it's basically a lapel microphone. So I'm going to be using that microphone for this video. The reason being for the kind of like, for those of you waiting for the microphone video, because I bought the Rode Procasters, which are going to be demoed later, this will be one of the sources I'm going to A, B and C it against with different microphones. So yeah, I'm pretty damn happy with this. This is a cool bit of kit, that's for sure. I hope you're also enjoying my new backdrops. These arrived a couple of days ago and I throw them up. Given I like space, you know, Aurora Eclipse Productions, that's my company name. So space is a thing. So I thought I'd make a big thing of the space theme and put these banners up behind my my couch. So all right guys, enjoy. So I didn't want to do an unboxing per se, but I thought it would be useful just for you to be able to see kind of what you get if you buy the Zoom H6 as I did. I didn't get any of the additional microphones or the kind of microphone casings that you can get. I literally just got the package that ships with the unit and the stereo pair, which I'm showing you now. So that kind of has got like a proprietary clip on the bottom, which attaches to the top of the Zoom recorder, and there are various other microphones you can get. There's shotgun mounts and all kinds of different stuff, which is awesome, to be fair. That's a device itself. It all comes packaged really well in kind of like the sleeves, whatever you want to call it, the cellophane or plastic. It does come with batteries, which I appreciated. The device takes 4 AA batteries. It does not come with an SD card. I got a 32 gig SanDisk card, which I spoke about in the previous video and I also touch on a little later on. That is a little difficult to get on, guys, at first. You just got to make sure you hold down those 2 clips quite firmly and then push it straight down and it will clip into place and make it a complete device. I would say once the batteries are in and the microphone's on the top, it feels nice and heavy and you're basically good to go. It's a really cool bit of gear. So now we're coming actually into looking at the device itself. The first thing I'm going to do is just flip this to the side here and turn this function here hold up. And then that's basically turned hold on. So that means now that if I try to press any of these buttons, nothing's gonna stop recording, which I think is a really cool feature, and something that I probably would turn on just because I know what I'm like. I like to fiddle around with stuff, and the last thing you want to do is stop recording in the middle of middle of a session or middle of a podcast or whatever it is you happen to be doing. So out of the box, you know, at first, I must admit, I was a little kind of, not disappointed, that's the wrong word, but the weight of the device, I was a little bit thinking I was expecting it to be heavier. But then once I put the batteries in and attached this top stereo microphone, the device feels really great, you know, and that was a fear that basically wasn't founded. So that was just an initial impression that I had. I thought, oh wow, I thought this would be a little heavier, but I can see how once you've got all the components on the thing, it carries a good weight. So we've got off the bat, the thing I like as well is that all the controls really that you're going to need are literally right here in front of you. I will go into the menus just to show you guys some of the things I've been using in there. There is not a lot, it's got to be said, but I can't do that all the time. It is in record mode. So I'll switch to another source and then show you the menu basically and the things that I've been using so far. So again, we're using this Audio-Technica microphone right now, which is a lapel microphone. And that's going just straight into channel 1. So we've got 4 channels, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you've got this left and right channel on the top here. Now, this can be changed. So I'm not going to do it now because it interferes with the recording, but basically if you press those 2 things in and you pull this off, you can replace this with the shotgun microphone, or I think there's a multitude of different. I think there's even like different dynamics you can put on there. I don't know. I think I might go with the dynamic at one point, just so I've got another option, because on the back of this device, there is a mount to put onto like a camera stand or a tripod or something. So you can actually mount this device should you want to. For the application I've really bought this for, it is for the podcast. I think it's going to be really useful being able to just take this device out and about to people's houses, out into the field. If I'm interviewing people at bands, say, at gigs or rehearsals, I've got a recorder that I can just use off the bat without worrying about a laptop. It does have the capability to work as an in-out device. So you can set this to literally plug into a laptop or a desktop, and then have the inputs going directly into Logic, Pro Tools, whichever DAW that you're using, which I think again is an awesome additional thing to have. I don't know if I'd use it as my main interface. In fact, I wouldn't, but I can see how people would and could. If you were doing a little podcast and you wanted to just go directly into Logic and not do any recording really on here, then that option would work great as an interface. But my application is going to be, I am going to be recording on this device. Really good preamps. I would say that I mentioned it in the first video with the Procaster, the Rode Procaster microphone that I bought. It does need a lot of gain. I was finding that some noise was being introduced because of that, but that's not down to the device. That is down to the fact I need to buy like a cloud lifter or a separate kind of preamp to kind of use some of that phantom power, convert it and apply it to the dynamic, just to kind of be able to essentially gain the microphone higher without hitting the pre. So it enables you to not have to cook it so much. So again, that's not really a reflection of the Zoom itself. That's going to be more relevant when we talk in the microphone video. I like that these guards, I don't know if you can see that, there's guards around the gain knobs, which means that really if you did have to pick this up for whatever reason, if you've got that guard on, like I said, that hold on the side there, you're not really going to interfere with anything. I think it's just a nice sort of safeguarding you against any kind of human error. So I like the fact that they've built these round here. It's going to be quite difficult. You've got to really get your hand in there and twist it. So obviously mistakes happen, but they've done a good job of thinking about how we're going to stop these knobs from being sort of turned. Especially if you're out in the field, say with this, if it is kind of moving with you, which I don't think it would do. I really think it is going to be mounted or something like that, rather than held. But you do see people walking about with these, with the stereo microphones kind of guiding it around. Each input's got a pad, so you can kind of take that 20 dB off if you've got, if you want to kind of stop things from peaking. Again, probably not something I will use with the microphones that I have got. But it's good to be able to have that option directly on the input there. If we look at the left side of the device, you've got XLR1, XLR2. We've got the SD card slot here. I've currently got a 32 gigabyte fast SanDisk in there. Headphones, which go out to a little headphone mixer, which I'll explain in a later video. Then we've got volume out on the headphones. Now, for me, I'll probably have set this to one level, but then I'll show you on the device, there's individual gains, which I'll do outside of this device. Then we've got our on and off switch and hold. So hold is currently right up to the top. If we go to the middle, that's just on. And then if we hold it down, the device will go off. On the bottom of the device, you've got your line out and a remote. So line out could be used to go to a camera or into a separate device, essentially. So again, for me, probably not something I would use. Remote, potentially. I may get a remote for it in the future, but right now I think it's going to pretty much live next to me, just so I can monitor the levels on the screen. If we go to the other side of the device, this is where you've got your input 3, your input 4. Then you've got your DC 5 volt USB, so that's to basically plug it into a computer, or you can power the device through that should you want to. You've got your menu button, and you've got essentially your up, down, and if you press that in, that's kind of like an enter button. So that's how you're going to be getting through your menus. Then again, like I say, on the back there, we've got our speaker, just if you want to hear what you've recorded, but you're not going to get a very good representation of it, to be honest. You'd want to use headphones. Then you've got your mount, and then we've got our battery cover. So it takes 4 AA batteries. They come with the device, which is quite cool. It does annoy me when things get shipped to you and they don't come with batteries. I just think that's out of order. Like I say, you can take this off, but I'm not going to do it because it will stop recording. But basically, if you, like I showed you in the kind of unboxing side of this video, it's almost got like a proprietary slot where you can slot on different Zoom microphones. The quality of the screen is awesome. The things it tells me, again, really useful. I've got my different input sources. So right now I'm using channel 1 only. If I press these other buttons, it would activate the different inputs. So like I say, I'm just using that. I'm not interested in doing any stereo recording, but this is a good visual representation of what channel you're using. So if we had a guest on, we'd have probably 1 and 2. Then we'd have those 2 inputs working. Stop, self-explanatory, play, pause, back and forward, and then we've got a record button. On this part of the screen, it's showing me obviously the levels of what I'm recording at, so I can check I'm not peaking. It's telling me I'm in WAV 4116. Please don't shoot me, guys. I know some of you audiophiles out there are going to be like, why aren't you in 24? Well, I just don't feel I need to for a YouTube video. This is telling you how long you've got left on the SD card. So currently I've got, a lot of time, 200 hours. So unless I'm going to be rounding on for 200 hours, I think we're going to be good to go. Obviously, battery, that's important, so you know what you're doing there. That just flashed on 1, by the way, guys, which means it was getting a little bit hot on level. Really useful to know. And yeah, the time we've been recording, then we've got the folder that these recordings are going in, so you can create folders for your different projects, and obviously a date and time stamp. So yeah, I'll jump into the menus now and show you what the menus look like. So we're looking at the menu of the Zoom H6. Like I said, I don't think you're going to need to really make too much adjustments, at least for the application I'm using this device for, I definitely won't. But I want to go through some of the things I would use and just show you what it looks like, so that if you are considering buying this device, it just gives you a little bit of an insight into what you can get. So I'm trying not to move this too much because I want to keep the screen into focus. But like I've said before, you've pressed the menu button in, then you've got up, down to move through your menu. And if you press that in, it makes a selection, okay? So if we press menu, first thing you get is your project list. Now I may well use this. If I had, say I was interviewing someone in the morning, I might call folder 1 said person. Say in the afternoon I was recording a band, I might call folder 2 the band, and then keep my recordings kind of organised on the fly, so you don't get completely confused in post-production. Generally speaking, the thing I'm going to be using the most is this microphone section. So if we go into this is where you can set your low cuts, your compression, your limiter, you can look at your phantom power, you can kind of change settings with regards to your, say like your line out level. Say if you were using this line out into a camera, you might want to up or down the amount of dB that you're sending into the camera if the gain's a little lower. But generally speaking, what I'll be using is the phantom, aka if I'm using a condenser microphone, or if I do end up getting the cloud lifter for the dynamic Procaster microphones, I will turn phantom power on so the cloud lifter can use that 48 volts. Compression and limiter. Now, I don't think I will use this on the device. Perhaps if I was at a concert, I may use the limiter for concert, just so that I don't peak. I tried to put the general compressor on just as a test when I was doing like a quick recording, and it was introducing a hell of a lot of noise. So me personally, I've always been a little bit, I think this is subjective. I've always liked to record with these sorts of things as raw as possible and then do all my compression and post in post. So I've wanted the recording to be as kind of natural as possible. I may use a limiter if I'm kind of nervous about someone speaking and potentially peaking, but I haven't experimented with it enough to give you a kind of a concise argument on that. To be honest with you, I probably will leave it off. And just, when the guest comes in, the person I'm speaking to, just during the line testing, I'll do enough kind of tests to make sure that we're basically not going to peak. And I would say there's nothing wrong with educating a person as well who perhaps hasn't used the microphone before. If you are going to suddenly laugh, you've almost got to act, and you've got to move that microphone slightly away from you if you're using one of these close mic'd, like the Shure SM7B or the Procaster. Nothing wrong with you don't want it to be, forced, but there's nothing wrong with giving a little bit of advice to the person about, how to use a microphone if they haven't been near one before. So I would never put a low cut on, to be honest with you. I might do if I was perhaps recording somewhere where I knew there was a rumble at say 150 hertz, like an air conditioning unit was on in a room or something like that. I may choose to cut that out at source. Perhaps if I had had some time in the room with the headphones, like I said before, there's the headphone thing on the side there, which is going to be, used a hell of a lot for me. So I may nudge out a frequency, but again, generally speaking, I will kind of try and do things at post, but then air conditioning units can be irritating in that they just take up almost the whole damn field. So I don't know, it might be that I'd turn that on, but generally speaking, I'm not really going to use too much in here. The VU meter, yeah, it's kind of cool. Like if I turn on the left and right, which is the top microphone here, if I turn this up now, yeah, we're starting to see, you've got the VU moving. It's just peaked on the right channel because I'm right up. You might want to see that. I like that view. I'm used to seeing that on consoles, but really, I don't know. I think it's just a cool feature that you could have. To be honest with you, I'd be pressing menu and going back to the, I'd be looking at my metering in this view here. I can see my inputs. That's perfectly fine for me to glance at. One thing I suppose that was cool was when I looked at, what do they call it here? There's an option in here called a sound marker. Now, what the sound marker does is if you are recording, this only works when you are recording, if you press the menu button in, it kind of makes a snapshot. And I could see that could be useful if you were in a podcast or you were, say you were just, say you were out recording some ambient sound and you happened to hear something you liked. You could press that in just to make almost like a marker like you would in Pro Tools or with your DAW, just to jump back to that particular location. I think that could be cool if you've got a 2-hour conversation or a 2-hour recording. You might want to make markers during the recording, so I may well use that. Outside of that, I suppose if you go into, where are we now? If we go to here, this is like a USB function. Your audio interface, that's how you'd need to turn that on. So if you were going to be looking at, if you're going to do a multi-track, PC or Mac or PC or Mac using battery, so AKA, if you were just plugging into the 5-volt thing there into your Mac or your PC, you'd probably use Mac PC because then it would power the device off the bus. The other one would just use the interface, the out for putting the sound out. It wouldn't use any battery. You need to turn that on if you're using the interface on a PC, so you definitely need that option. I've now just turned that on. It says it's in USB audio interface and it's in multi-track mode. If I come back into menu, it's a little fiddly to get used to, but it's fine. You will get there. So if I go exit, are you sure you want to exit interface mode? Yes, I am. Now we're back to normal recorder mode. You've got added things in there, such as, metronomes and tuners. If you're a guitarist in there in the world here and you want to be recording your guitar parts, you have got a tuner and a metronome, which is cool. There is dictaphones in one of the menus where you can kind of almost just do like a dictaphone-y performance. I think that's in rec. Sound marker. No, it's not in rec. There was something I saw where you could literally just record. Not sure where that is now, to be honest. Project menu. Somewhere in there, guys, there's a thing you can use to basically record like use the device like a dictaphone. But I think most people are using their mobile phones to do that now rather than a big bulky thing like this. I can't see me sort of moving this up and going, so today I've got this idea. It's not going to happen for me. I might do that on my phone though. So all in all, I think really in terms of the menus, you are going to pretty much set up whether you've got phantom power or not. You'll make your decision of whether you're going to add a low cut, whether you're going to add any compression, but I don't think you will. A lot of the time, guys, you're going to be just like I said in the last video. Everything's here. Really, I know what I'm recording in terms of sample rate, how long I've got left in terms of recording time, my battery, how long I'm recording, the folder I'm recording in, and like the that's one thing you might change. I opted to change this device to record. Is it record? No, okay. So record formats where you change if you want to be in 4816 or 4824. That's another thing you'd look at. There is a naming convention. I think it's project name. I chose it to go to date as opposed to default, so that I could basically, each recording then should correspond to the clips on the camera, if that makes sense. For my application, it will make it a lot easier once I get into Premiere and start editing the video. But yeah, outside of that, I think most things are pretty much, all you need to do is, am I using a condenser microphone? Okay, I need phantom power on. What sample rate do I want? I need to configure that. Do I want to name the folder, which I do believe you need to do on a computer? It doesn't seem to me like there's an option to do that. You've got this project name thing here. Yeah, you can't seem to change even if I go to here, the folders, there doesn't seem to be a way to change the name. So you'd need to do that from a computer, from the SD card. But other than that, I think really it's got a lot of features you could use if you wanted to extrapolate this into lots of different areas, such as metronomes, or tuners. But generally speaking, I think most of it is in the menu side of things is fairly simple. So I do hope that's been useful for you guys. I really do love this device. I think it's well worth buying. I think it far beats using a mobile phone recorder or something like that. You've got proper preamps on this, loads of inputs. Like I say, it feels good in terms of a weight. Even the microphones on the top there are worth having. I could see me recording like an ambience with those for an ambient project or a film score. Yeah, it's really cool, guys. I would highly recommend it, and I hope this video has been really useful for you guys. Okay, I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.